Noah and Haley all present and accounted for, chatting, smiling, carefree. Like nothing had gone wrong. But my daughter Lily wasn't with them. I kept glancing past them, thinking maybe she was trailing behind. Maybe she stopped at the restroom or grabbed a drink. But no one looked back. No one seemed concerned. My husband Marcus was standing beside me. I felt him shift slightly, noticing the same thing. His hand moved to mine. Instinctively. "Where's Lily?" I asked. My voice came out sharper than I intended. But I didn't care. My gut had already started to tighten. Dad waved me off. "She lost her passport during the layover. She's probably on the next flight." "The layover," I repeated. "Sudan," he said casually. "Cheaper route. Your mother found a great deal." "Sudan." I turned to Marcus, his eyes already narrowing. "She lost her passport. In Sudan." Mom nodded like it was an unfortunate, minor inconvenience. "She's fine. We told her to stay near the airport desk." He blinked. "Processing. You rerouted our daughter through Sudan. She lost her passport. And you left her there. She's 18. My sister Susan added, "Not a baby. She said she'd figure it out." Then Noah laughed. You should have seen her face when she realized. It was hilarious. Haley snorted. She was so dramatic. Almost crying. Like full panic mode. And they laughed again. Right there. In the middle of the resort lobby. While my daughter, Lily Harper, 18 years old, was alone in a high-risk foreign country. With no passport and no one to help her. They laughed. That's when I knew. This wasn't a mistake. This was betrayal. It was supposed to be a celebration. 2 decades of hard work had finally paid off Marcus, and I had hit a major milestone with our consulting firm. We'd built something solid from scratch. And I wanted to mark the moment with something meaningful. A family vacation. One where we could all be together. No work. No distractions. Just sun. Food. And laughter. So I paid for everything. The beachfront resort. Group excursions. Even the flights. Which weren't cheap. It wasn't about showing off. It was about reconnecting. About healing old wounds. I wanted Lily to be surrounded by family, by people who claimed to love her. Maybe I was naive. My family has always been complicated. My parents, Richard and Marie, have a long history of ignoring things that made them uncomfortable. My sister Susan, she could do no wrong. Even growing up. If she snapped at a teacher or broke a window, it was chalked up to her creative spirit. Me, I got grounded once for questioning a Bible verse during dinner. Susan had 2 kids, Noah, 12, and Haley, 14. She raised them alone after her divorce. And ever since then, the family treated her like some kind of heroic martyr. Every time her kids misbehaved, talked back. Threw tantrums. Destroyed furniture, it was. Parenting is hard. But if Lily so much as frowned at a family joke, it was. She's too serious. Lily is smart. Brilliant. Actually. Science competitions. Scholarships. Honors classes. But no matter what she achieved, it was never quite enough. She should try sports. My mom once said. Watching Lily read a book at the beach. She's 5 too. I replied. With asthma. She could still try. And when Lily won a regional math championship, my dad's response was, that's good. But make sure she's not just a brain. Nobody likes a know-it-all. That's the kind of support Lily grew up with. So yes, maybe I should have known better. But I still wanted to believe this trip would be different. That we could finally be seen, not just tolerated. Turns out, I was wrong. The next morning, I sat in the lobby with Marcus. Watching the automatic glass doors, I checked the time again. Their arrival had been delayed. But now, they were finally here. I stood when I saw them. My parents. Susan. Noah. Haley. All of them. Walking in like it was any other vacation morning. Laughing about airplane food. Joking about sandals that got lost in a security bin. But Lily wasn't with them. I looked again. Waited. She must be behind them. Maybe in the bathroom. Maybe just outside. Taking a call. No. No one looked back. No one even mentioned her. Marcus tensed beside me. His fingers twitched near his pocket. Probably reaching for his phone. "Where's Lily?" I asked. Already knowing I wouldn't like the answer. "She lost her passport," Dad said with a shrug. "She'll catch the next flight." "What do you mean she lost it? Where?" "The second layover," Mom answered. I frowned. Second, I thought the flight was direct after London. Susan jumped in. "We found a cheaper deal. 2 layovers. Richard pushed the agent until they gave us a route that saved almost $600. "Where was the second layover?" I asked again. More sharply. Dad smiled like he was proud. "Sudan." The name hit like a slap. "You routed my 18-year-old daughter through Sudan without telling us. There were plenty of seats." Mom said, "And she's 18. She's not a child." "But she lost her passport. She said she had it." Susan cut in. I looked around. Everyone avoided my gaze. Except Noah, who grinned. You should have seen her face when she realized she couldn't board. It was so funny. Haley laughed. She freaked out like we were in a war zone or something. My mouth went dry. "You left her there," I said. "In Sudan. Alone. Without a passport." Mom crossed her arms. "She told us she'd handle it." "She's smart," Dad added. "You've always said that." Marcus stepped forward now. Voice calm but tight. "Why didn't one of you stay with her, just one adult? We had to make the flight." Susan replied. "It's not like we could all miss it." "Yes," I said. "You could have. You should have." No one answered. And that silence, that casual silence, told me everything I needed to know. That silence wasn't new. It was the same silence I'd heard my whole life, when something hurt me and no one wanted to acknowledge it. The same silence that followed every offhand remark about Lily's hair being too wild or her voice being too aggressive. The same silence that fell after she was told to smile more. To speak less. To not act out when she asked hard questions. And now, they'd left her in Sudan. She was being dramatic. Susan said. As if it explained everything. She kept saying it was unsafe. Pulling up articles on her phone. Acting like we were dragging her into danger. She wasn't being dramatic. I said. She was being cautious. She watches too much TikTok. Haley muttered. She thought we were going to get kidnapped or something. She's 18. Mom added. She has to learn to handle things. Marcus' voice dropped. Not when she's been abandoned in a high-risk country without documents. That's not a learning experience. That's a crisis. Noah, still smug, looked up and said, I mean, her dad's black. Right, so she blends in better than we do. The air left the room. Marcus's jaw tensed. Susan's face paled. He didn't mean it that way. I stared at my nephew, then at my parents. And something shifted in me, not loud. Not sharp. More like a door quietly closing. Because that's what this was. This wasn't just a mistake. This was years of disregard, culminating in one awful choice. I asked you all to check your bags. I said, voice low. I wanted to be sure. But now I need to ask again. Are you absolutely sure you didn't accidentally pack her passport? Everyone got defensive. Dad huffed. Mom scoffed. Susan rolled her eyes. We're not the enemy here. She snapped. But then, Noah looked away. Haley suddenly found her phone very interesting. And Susan said something she couldn't take back. It was already too late. What did you want us to do? I turned slowly. Too late for what? She froze. Dad stepped in. It's not like we planned this. Marcus moved beside me. You found it. Didn't you? No response. I took a breath. You found her passport, after she couldn't board the plane. And you left her anyway? Still. Silence. Then Noah mumbled. I just hid it. As a joke. And that was the moment everything snapped into place. Noah stood there, staring at the floor, like his feet might open up and swallow him. I just hid it, he repeated. She was being annoying, going on and on about how dangerous Sudan was. I thought she needed to chill. You hid her passport, I said slowly. In a country the U.S. government warns travelers to avoid. And then you all left her there. She was being dramatic. Mom said again. She was right. Marcus replied. She's an 18-year-old girl. Alone in a place she didn't want to be. Without documents. Without help. Without any way to reach us. And you made fun of her. She said she'd figure it out. Susan snapped. She didn't want to come through Sudan anyway. She was making everything hard. Honestly, it just happened. No, it didn't just happen. You don't just forget a passport you found in your bag. You don't just decide not to mention it. You don't just leave your niece in a dangerous place because she expressed concern. This wasn't forgetfulness. It was a choice. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything, though my whole body wanted to. Instead, I turned to Marcus and said quietly, We're fixing this. He nodded and pulled out his phone. I could see his thumb flying across the screen, checking flight options. We walked out of the lounge, past the pool, past the front desk. I didn't even turn around when Mom called after me. You don't have to make a scene. I'm not making a scene, I said under my breath. Not yet. Back in the hotel suite, I opened my laptop and logged into the airline portal. I started searching flights to Khartoum. There was one, 5 hours from now. It wasn't ideal. It was risky. But not as risky as doing nothing. Marcus leaned over my shoulder. You stay, he said. I'll go. He was right. As a black man, he might attract attention there, but I would too. And someone needed to manage the fallout here. Because the fallout was already happening. Even if my family didn't realize it yet. We booked it. One-way ticket for Marcus. 2 return tickets for the next day, 1 for him. And 1 for Lily. Still no word from her. I called again. Nothing. Straight to voicemail. I tried texting. Emailing. Messaging through every app I could think of. Still, nothing. I kept trying. And on the 9th call, just as I was confirming the flight, the line connected. Mom came a shaky voice. I nearly dropped the phone. Lily, are you okay? Her breath hitched. I've been trying to call. The Wi-Fi's garbage. Miss Sim won't connect. I thought something was wrong with my phone. No. It's not your phone. I said. We found your passport. Dad's coming. He's flying out to you tonight. Silence. You found it. In Susan's bag. Another silence. Then a sound I'll never forget, a small, broken laugh that turned into something like a sob. "I knew it," she whispered. And my heart cracked wide open. "I told them," Lily said, her voice thin. "I told them I had it. I told them not to go through Sudan. I told them it wasn't safe." "I know," I said. "I believe you." She didn't cry. Not exactly. But her voice cracked. Like she was holding something back. Like she'd been holding it for hours. They said I was being dramatic. That I was watching too much TikTok. That airports are just airports. No matter where you are. I could hear the background noise voices calling out in Arabic. An intercom system crackling. The echo of footsteps on concrete floors. They almost made me leave the terminal. She said, "I told them I was waiting for someone. I found this little food stand and sat there pretending to be on a call. I haven't moved. It's loud and gross and weird." Her voice dipped again. Some guy asked if I was married. Another offered to help if I owed him a favor. I didn't know what to do. I just kept pretending I was texting someone. I pressed my hand to my chest, as if I could hold her fear in my own body and take it away from her. "You did everything right," I said. "You stayed put. You stayed smart. You stayed safe." "Is Dad really coming?" "He's already packing. You'll see him in the morning? Just hang in there a little longer." There was a pause on the line. "Can you tell him to hurry?" I nodded. Even though she couldn't see me. "He's moving as fast as he can." When I hung up, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I sat in silence, listening to the buzz of the mini fridge, the sound of Marcus's suitcase being zipped shut in the other room. Then I opened the hotel's group booking portal. One by one, I selected each reservation. Susan's room, my parents' suite, the family block I had paid for in full. And I canceled every single one. They could figure it out. If they were clever enough to reroute my daughter through Sudan, they could certainly find a way to book their own hotel room, preferably one without air conditioning, or beach access, or patience. Because we weren't done. Not yet. The knock came early the next morning. Not a polite tap. Not even an impatient one. This was loud. Persistent. Angry. The kind of knocking that echoes through tiled hotel hallways and wakes up guests 3 doors down. I stepped into the hallway just in time to hear someone shout, "You can't do this, we have children." A calm voice responded, "Sir, your reservation was cancelled. Checkout time has passed. If you do not leave voluntarily, we will be forced to notify local authorities." Another bang. Then a child crying. And then my mother's voice tight. Brittle. Coated in indignation. "This is an outrageous overreaction." I slipped back into our room and shut the door. Not to block them out. To stop myself from laughing. They had tried to spin the story the night before. Susan banged on my door, like I owed her an explanation. My mother showed up with her best, "This isn't how we raised you" face. But I wasn't that girl anymore. I opened the door just enough to see their faces. "You canceled the rooms without telling us," my mother hissed. I thought I'd let the front desk break the news. "That's cruel." Susan snapped. "Even for you." "Cruel," I said, blinking. "You rerouted my daughter through a high-risk country. You left her in an international transit zone without documents. Then you mocked her." "She lost her passport," my father barked. "She didn't lose it." I said, "Noah took it. You found it. And you said nothing. So no, I'm not paying for your vacation. You're punishing all of us." Mom said, "You punished yourselves." I replied, "All I did was stop funding it." Mom took a step closer, trying to tower over me like I was still 15. "We have kids with us. she said. Haley's crying. Noah's scared. Are you seriously going to make us move hotels? I'm not stopping you. Susan's face twisted. So that's it, one mistake. And we're cut off. One mistake, I repeated. My voice sharp. You didn't forget a birthday card. You stranded my daughter. That's not a mistake. That's sabotage. No one said a word. This conversation is over, I said. And I shut the door. Behind it, I heard more arguing. The manager's voice again. Something about policy. My father threatening legal action. I poured myself coffee. Let them figure it out. We weren't finished yet. Marcus and Lily landed that evening. I was already waiting in the lobby when they walked in. He looked tired. Jet-lagged. But alert. She looked different. Same face. Same curls pulled into a bun. But something behind her eyes had changed. The girl who left was cautious. The girl who returned had learned something about the world and about the people she trusted. She didn't run to me. She didn't cry. She just walked up, wrapped her arms around my waist, and said quietly, "Do we have to go anywhere else?" "No," I said. "We're not going anywhere." We stayed another week, just the three of us. We ate grilled fish by the beach. The kind that flakes off the fork. We swam in warm turquoise water. We read books under umbrellas. Lily slept in. Smiled again. Found pieces of herself coming back. Every time a message popped up on my phone, my stomach would tighten. But I didn't open any of them. I didn't respond to the guilt trips. The long voicemails. The passive-aggressive texts about tearing the family apart. I had already made my choice. When we got home, I stopped everything. No more monthly check-ins with my parents. No more support for Susan's rent. No more covering my dad's medical co-pays or helping book summer camps for the kids. Nothing. I didn't write a dramatic letter. I didn't post a rant online. I just stopped. A few months later, during tax season, my mom texted to ask if we were still paying the insurance premiums on their house. I replied with one word. No. Silence. I told Marcus I felt guilty. He shook his head. You know what guilt is. It's the echo of a boundary you should have set years ago. He was right. They thought what broke me was the betrayal. But it wasn't. It was the realization that I didn't need to scream to be heard. I didn't need to fight anymore. All I had to do was walk away. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like the outsider. I felt free. Maybe I overreacted. Maybe canceling their hotel rooms and return flights was petty. Or maybe it was the only thing that made them feel even a fraction of what Lily went through. Stranded. Unseen. Disposable. Because this wasn't just about a passport. Or even Sudan. It was about years of being told we were imagining things. Years of brushing off microaggressions. Years of believing that if we just gave enough, loved hard enough, stayed quiet enough, they would change. But they didn't. And they won't. Sometimes. Protecting your child means becoming someone your family won't like. Sometimes it means walking away from people who raised you because they refuse to see who you've become. That's not revenge. That's self-respect. So if you're wondering whether I regret it, I don't. I don't regret protecting my daughter. I don't regret drawing a line and saying, "You don't get to treat us like that anymore." And I don't regret showing my child that love doesn't always sound soft, but it always shows up. What about you? Have you ever had to walk away from family to protect yourself or someone you love? Have you ever been called dramatic or too sensitive when all you were trying to do was survive? I'd really love to hear your story in the comments. And if this one resonated with you, or made you think about your own boundaries, don't forget to like this video. Share it with someone who might need it. And all stories like this one. Because here, we don't sugarcoat the hard stuff. We speak it. Clearly. Calmly.